Hey, it's Wes. Today we're going to talk about earnest money deposits. Earnest money deposits. What the heck are earnest money deposits? Well, when you make an offer on a property, in exchange, the seller's got to see some collateral, right? Or do you expect the seller just to say, okay, we're going to give you 30 days or 40 days, and we're not going to worry about you walking from the deal? So it's very customary. There's no set amount for an earnest money deposit. But what is it? It's a deposit made by the buyer, and it goes into an escrow account. Different states handle the escrows differently. But in Virginia, it can be held by either the realty companies or the title company. We don't make any interest on those earnest monies. I think in New Jersey and some other states they do, but not in Virginia. So what is it? It's collateral. So when you write the offer, your agent's going to ask you to write an earnest money deposit check. I've had a few clients go, I don't have a checkbook. That's fine. We'll talk about how you handle that in a second. The earnest money deposit, once the offer is ratified, an earnest money deposit is put into an escrow account. All the parties of the real estate transaction get a copy of that deposit, and that's going to be applied toward your down payment at settlement or the balance of your closing cost. When is it due? Depending on the contract. When we usually write an offer, I will have in the offer that I have the check already upon writing the offer, or that I'm going to get the check within 1 to 2 days of the contract being ratified. Contract ratification means everyone has agreed in writing to the terms on the contract. And it doesn't matter if it's a weekday or weekend, a day is a day in the real estate contract. So be prepared when you make that offer. If you say that you've made the deposit, that you've given your agent the deposit. Unfortunately, that's probably the number one item that most agents get in trouble with, is saying that they have the deposit and they don't have that check yet. And when you write that check, it's got to be good. You can't tell the agent, hey, can you hold it for 3 or 4 days? When you hand them that check, you better have the funds in that account. That's a whole nother video. We're not going to get into that today. It's your money. It's going to go towards your down payment and closing costs. So a personal check is totally fine for the earnest money. For settlement, you're not going to want to bring a personal check, okay? If you don't have a check, maybe you traveled here from out of state, or you really don't have a check, you're using a money app. A lot of money apps are out there. They're becoming more popular. I don't recommend it because any money that is part of this transaction, the mortgage lender is going to want to have it documented. And I've seen through some of the money apps, they can give you e-statements, but it's a little messy trying to say, hey, this money came from here and this came from there. The mortgage lender is not going to be questioning your integrity, but they have to show a track record for it. And I think the money app gets a little crazy, so I'd recommend not doing the money app. Go to your bank and maybe you get a cashier's or a certified bank check from your account. That's another option. Or a wire, okay? A wire, we've had a couple videos or discussions about fraud. You can wire the money to the title company. I just had a buyer had her father, with permission from the lender, wire the entire amount, $52,000, to the title company. Now, for liability purposes, there's a lot of fraud in email, so I usually will make sure that my buyer contacts the title company directly and gets the routing number and the account number. So you be careful. If you have an email wiring instructions, make the phone call to make sure it's legitimate, because otherwise I've heard some crazy stories of fraud. So any one of those ways are great ways to get your earnest money. Unfortunately, no credit card advances, because if you try to do that, you're increasing your debt. You're showing another bill. You've got to pay that credit card back, and lenders don't like to see that. That screams, hey, we don't have the money, we're putting it on the credit card. Do not do that, because it'll mess up your loan, your credit, and your ratios. By the way, besides when you make an initial loan application, they're going to run your credit, and they're going to run your credit again maybe as late as the day of closing. So be careful. Communication is the key. If you're moving money around, they're going to want to see a track history, whether it's for a deposit or any parts of the real estate transaction. The lender wants to see where that money came from, whose money it is, where it came from, and how long it's been there, and why it's there. So if you move anything around, please, please, please check with your lender before you change anything. Don't sign for any credit cards or open any new accounts at Target or don't take on any more debt, because it'll mess up your loan. All right, the track record's key, communication's key. Please subscribe and send me your questions. Thanks for watching.